Alright, hit the button. Yeah, wasn't going to. Anyway, but I'm just, just still on the general subject of, um, my interaction with the world through this medium and, the difference between what we consider to be friends or allies and enemies. They're hard to tell them apart sometimes, in my opinion, from my interactions. Um, some people true blue, others not so true. In terms of a color. Um, and yeah, sort of an understanding of what, why I'm in it. What's the game for? And uh, yeah, I mean, it sort of just goes back to this thing. I mean, it's being something for the wrong reason. So, like on the vegetarian issue, frankly, I don't have any use for vegetarians. Yeah, they might have utility to some general cause, of saving a pig or two. It's like rescuing some people from the Holocaust before the the camps or something. Buying a few Jews into safety. Yeah, well, that's okay, but that's not going to stop the real horror. It doesn't have much to do with the real game. I mean, it's 0.0000, some tiny percentage. Just as human reproduction is a tiny percentage of the problem. And really, the only use of the term antinatalism is to recognize the fact that it is not functional even in the greatest creation of evolution, right? It still isn't good enough. Its best work is still crap. And once you acknowledge that, quite obviously, that points you in the direction of the lesser crap that needs to be cleaned up. So it's, there really is, for me, there's ephilism, there really isn't. Antinatalism is not even a half measure. It's just an acknowledgement of the place you have to head. Just as vegetarianism is practically meaningless as an action. I mean, as one individual, I won't stop, Dyson or Tyson or any of this other I won't stop them as one individual protesting. And like I said, even if I did, even if I got other people to stop eating meat, it's a tiny percentage, a minuscule percentage of the horror that takes place on planet Earth. The correctable horror, again, this is, they all talk as if this is the only thing that matters on this planet is, what affects me or what affects the human race. And to me, that's that's a non-starter. That's Nietzsche again, which Pyrrho was talking about with the misogynist racist, his friends. So anyway, that's another thing. I sort of got, alright, so I didn't do my room, so Flyoris did a room. And, that Vic Mackey guy, who's just a troll. I mean, he's obviously not any form of antinatalist. He's a racist and an insane, egocentric fucknut. He's a nihilist Nietzscheite all the way. And Flyoris is having a conversation with him like he's some sort of honest character having a conversation with her. So, it's just too obvious almost. But anyway, so the premise of his argument is I don't make logical arguments, and I make simplistically stupid arguments and all this other crap that he obviously doesn't have the guts to defend any of that nonsense. With actual quotes. Again, I mean, there's zillions of them. How is life not consumption, reproduction, cannibalism, addiction? And again, how can anyone rationally argue that the difference between positive sensations and negative sensations are an absolute fact, not to them fact? It happens as an absolute event in the universe, reliably and dependably just as leaves fall off of trees. It's not a deniable truth. If you're going to say leaves don't really fall off trees, as I just subjectively interpret these leaves as having, holy fuck, the trees are out to get me. They do that now. Some new thing trees do. They're a little hostile to the humans. Anyway, so anyway, he's just a troll, right? So he has no genuine sourcing for any conversation he'll have about population control or something. It has absolutely nothing to do with anything to do with any principle of harm, any notion of it. He's as cold-brained and cold-hearted, and he's just playing a game. You know, it's a form of his masturbation, I suspect, to manipulate people. And so anyway, the premise was this idiotic argument that somehow I haven't made real arguments, and then this idea that somehow I've done it wrong. You know, and it's just the power of my personality. Yeah, that's all I have is a personality. And you know, I've somehow committed these egregious crimes. And Flyer just implies that, yeah, that's somehow true. You know, that I have something to account for, or apologize for. And I was just thinking about that. I'm saying, no, I don't. See, I've already explained it. I'm a sensitive human organism. I have feelings. And I will not be ashamed of my half-humanness. Okay, I'm very proud of Vulcan. I'm very proud of the idea of logic and intelligence, but I do not negate the fact that emotion is necessary to create action. It's a fact. You will not act unless something disturbs you. It must disturb you. You know, you're just not going to show up for the war out of principle alone. It just ain't going to happen. You got to feel some hate. You got to feel that there's a problem that needs fixing. You have to feel something. I'm not going to apologize for that. But so what else? Yeah, I don't think I've wronged anybody who wasn't a perfect asshole. Nearly perfect. So I've given people exactly what they deserve. Pretty much. More reliably than anybody else, I'd almost argue. You know, it's this whole comparison in a vacuum thing, too. There's a famous Nietzsche kind of tactics. You know, just rag on everything and don't show us anything that's right. Right? Who's doing it right? You know, we won't hear from them. Yeah, pretty much. So what else is there to say? Yeah, I mean, he did bring up anti-bullshit man in his example of the guy doing it right, and he's not doing anything. So you can hardly call that doing it right. You know. So what else is there to say on that? I mean, he's not in the trenches at all. And I don't think anti-bullshit man would agree with Vic. Because me and anti-bullshit man only disagree about, you know, a very small percentage of this argument. But it is critical. So again, that's like with logic rolls of dice. I just don't think he's at all. I don't. It's just academic nonsense. You know, it's gibberish in his head. He's playing with it like Legos. And to me, that's like analyzing veganism through the eyes of, you know, somebody who says, well, gee, I'll be healthier, and my dick will be harder, and I'll live longer. And that's just a pitiful analysis. in my opinion. It doesn't have anything to do with the big truth, which is the harm and the imposition of it. So anyway, getting this back to the beginning. So yeah, I'm just sort of disconnecting, I think, from personal involvement. I've never desired to have a cult or a fan base or any of that shit. And when I think of how many times I have been treated rather shabbily by the members of the cult, you know, they're yeah, I just don't see any point in having. I don't need affiliations. I don't need a social network. And so if somebody can provide me argumentation, that's great. But frankly, I don't see anybody doing that either. I mean, is there some element out there that has provided me augmentation arguments? Am I quoting somebody else's arguments? You know, besides maybe derived energy's idea of malignant. I like that word, malignant. But where is it? Yeah, it isn't. It doesn't exist. So they're not feeding me, and I'm certainly happy that they're have some passion for the subject. But yeah, disassociate from me, please. Yeah, because yeah, if we don't have a common understanding of the mission, if that really isn't the common understanding, that it isn't the nature of life itself to create these organisms in deficit, and that there really is no true positive, there's just acquisition of your fix, your dose of the juice of life, and that on top of that being insidiously stupid, there's this horrendous price tag paid by the real losers, you know, those who get tsunami'd and whatnot. I certainly couldn't defend any aspect of my life with causing torture or harm to another sentient being to have it. It's just not good enough for that. It's not a good enough, it's not a fair, rational, it's not a bargain. You know, that you're getting fucked if you're going to pay torture to have something as silly as I satisfied an addiction. That's not nearly good enough. So, I mean, if you don't understand that that's what I'm talking about, if that is some subjective argument to you, or some illogical argument, not reasoned based, to figure out that I don't want to be tortured, I've been lucky, and that's the only reason why life has been at all. That's why I can do this walking and talking thing, is because I've been lucky. You're supposed to be afraid of me. I hate you. Yes, I do, you fucking disease-covered rats. They are covered with disease. 150 ticks per deer. Yeah, just trying to give me Lyme. But just victims of the game. You know, people look at them and say, oh, isn't that wonderful? They'll be dead in less than 2 years. The average lifespan of a deer now is 3 years. You know, its natural lifespan might be 15, but nope, 3 years. Just food for somebody's pleasure. Aren't we done now? Is that enough? Do I need to say something else? Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So I just, you know, the people who I already let them know I trust them, and you know, I'll maintain my relationships with people on a personal level, and I'll just keep that personal. And then otherwise, you're just another philosopher on the internet and you're either useful to my argument or not. And I will respond when you say something necessarily brilliant or necessarily stupid. And I'm betting it's going to be stupid more than brilliant, but whatever. Go for it. That is, if I can even watch your videos. I mean, some of you people are tedious to watch. But anyway, but I've had my fill of it on the personal side. So like I said, if I do a room again, it's going to have shit happening in it philosophically, or it's not going to stay up. Alright, because I'm just not going to do this social shit anymore. If I want to go fish for women to flirt with, I guess I can do that with some other shirt on. Yeah, I don't have to be me. I can be a fake me. But I kind of know that's futile anyway, so I just don't see me playing the game much on this personal level. Blah, blah, blah. So anyway, till next time. Such.